Hello, you wonderful people, and welcome to the Blacktown Premier League podcast, episode 11 already. I can't believe it. My name is Mark DePoli. I've got a short but sweet episode to suit your short attention spans this week. Let's see what Workers had to say on the podcast.
Prospect, yeah, definitely have something to prove. I just don't think it's going to be against us.
Yes, we didn't have the chance to chat to the Prospect higher-ups this week, which is a bit of a shame, but I did pin the hard questions to Workers. So, I know you'll appreciate it. So make sure you press like, and let's cue the intro music. Results? Well, before I go into the results, I just want to say the ongoing trend of likes that we've been getting at this ferocious rate. I just wanted to say, keep it up. You guys are smashing it. Thank you so much. It means the world to me. Right, results time. Let's go. Quakers Hill Tigers fell to Rouse Hill Rams in the new club derby, but Quakers Juniors, wow, a big 3-2 win over Norwest, a team that beat them 7-2 last year. They won 3-2 this time. That's 4 wins from 5 for them. They're up into third place, and they're just a couple points behind Park Lee in second. Loving life, they most certainly are. St Pat's beat Rooty Hill 4-0 last time. This time it was 3-0. Town Rangers stunned Polonia 3-1, who have gone from easy promotion favourites to being chased down within 2 game days. Parkley and Oakville draw 2-2 as Glenwood continue to be solid as a rock with a 4-1 win over Newbury. Just cutting the highlights short for a second, a look at the ladder now tells us a pretty simple story. Polonia are still first, but it's not in their hands anymore. Glenwood could go top with a win over Oakville this Saturday. Town Rangers are only outside the top 4 on goal difference. Back to the highlights. Marion survived a late 3-2 scare over Dooney, as you're watching right now in the match of the round highlights, then backed it up to beat Northbridge Bulls in the State Cup on Sunday. That's an incredible result. Eastern Creek 5 over Prospects 1. Ponds ease past Juniors 2-0. Workers enter the match of the round on a high after beating Tigers 3-1 and moving into the top 5. Ropes had a massive win 1-0 over Riverston. Cutting the highlights short once again, the top 5 features the same teams as last year, and there is a massive blockbuster 6-pointer between, of course, the eternal rivals, the standard bearer derby, Ponds and Marion. At the end of Saturday night, we will have a team outright in first place. They could wear gold, or they could wear green and black. Dooney have slumped to third. Eastern Creek have held on to that 4th spot really well. They've faced Dooney this weekend in a 3rd-v-4th, so 1v2 and 3rd-v-4th. Brilliant stuff. As Workers take on Prospect, having just having just claimed that 5th spot for the time being. Right, it's time. Let's go chat to Blacktown Workers. We are here at Leywood Sporting Complex, and the very nervous Workers boys are here to chat. For some reason, at the end of their training session, feeling a little hot under the collar for some reason. Shane, Danny Mack for the first time, Darren Graham, of course, the coach, Tom Guthrie returns for the second time in 2 podcasts. Boys, thanks very much for joining me. Let's go back to the match of the round that you guys featured in round 2 of the season. Darren, I'm going to go straight to you. A pretty entertaining game against Ropes. It's proved to be the difference maker between you two on the table right now. You guys on 10, they're on 9 points. It puts you in the top 5, it puts them out of it. Sort of sounds like last season once again. So let's throw back to that. Goals within the last couple of minutes of the first half, first couple of minutes of the second half. A missed penalty, it had it all.
Yeah, look, as I've said, Ropes have been our bogey side, and it was good to get the win over them in the first round. Going back to Ropes, second round at their ground is going to be a tough ask, and hopefully it's not us fighting for the 5th spot with them. I don't think it will be. We're starting to come into a bit of momentum now, which is good. So hopefully we'll be a bit higher and not be battling it out with them.
Tom, we asked the question pre that match of the round on where on earth you were going to play. Thankfully for you, it wasn't off the bench. You were playing as a 9. You got an assist, the match-winning assist. How's the rest of the season gone, in your own opinion, for you since then?
Yeah, the season's been pretty good. Obviously, we had that shaky start. Boys regrouped, good bunch of lads, and yeah, we just sat down and discussed what was going wrong, what was going well, and from there it's just evolved. And we've turned into a squad that plays for each other. We leave it all out there, and obviously the results that we're getting are now speaking for themselves.
You guys are always very particular on the way that you use the word squad rather than team. I have noticed that, and it does shine through in the results, certainly for both first and reserve grade, and of course 21s as well. Shane, I'm going to go to you. I'm going to assume you were here for the Eastern Creek game. That was a 4-2.
Yes.
Okay, brilliant. So you guys went 4-0 up in that game. I wouldn't say you let them back in the game, but you let them score 2 goals, and obviously you're the big centre-back now, so I've got to ask you these important questions. So that's an important one, even though they're above you on the ladder, that probably did an important thing for your confidence, I can imagine. So talk me through that game, because Eastern Creek have beaten some big teams this year.
Yeah, I think we started well that game. Obviously 4-0 up. We knew what they did to us last year with that semi-final. So we knew what they could bring. Being at home, we wanted that win as much as we could. Being 4-0 up, I think maybe we got a bit complacent and sort of let them 2 goals back in. But overall, I think we showed what we could do, and the results speak for themselves.
Danny Mack, welcome to the podcast officially. Good to have you on, my friend. It's been a long time coming, certainly. Did you play in the Tigers game most recently? Yeah, so I'm going to ask you a controversial question straight at the top. I've seen footage of a rather excellent Tigers goal that was scored and then disallowed. So I want to know, at what point in the game was that? And did it spur you on, or was it simply just a different part of the game that it didn't matter?
I think we were 0-0 at the point, so that would have put them 1-0 up. It was pretty early in the game. I think the right call was made, in my opinion. I was pretty close to it, but it definitely, got us up a bit after that. We needed to step up. We started a bit slow, which has been our problem this year, but yeah, it's definitely worked in our favour in the end, coming in the second half. So
certainly. Well, 3-1 seems like a pretty convincing scoreline. So let's continue on talking about that, because you beat them, and we know that that sort of 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th were all playing each other that day, and we discussed it on the podcast as well. So it was an important day for those 4 teams. You guys have ended up on top of all of them, really. So are you right on the medium point of the table in 5th out of 10? So I've got to ask, are you looking up or are you looking below at the moment? There's 2 different mentalities there.
yeah, look, I think like Tom said earlier, we started a bit slow, but we know where we stand in this comp. We can mix it with the top team. So I think once we get a bit of momentum going, come back in the second half of the season, I think we'll be fine for that top 5.
Mm-hmm. Darren, we've seen penalties are plenty for workers. It's actually been a bit of a theme, and I'm going to ask you the terrible question of there's now, for in-game penalties that workers have taken, that's 3 in the last years of match of the round. 1 has been scored, 2 have been missed. So that means you've actually scored the same number of direct free kicks from outside the box than penalties, which is rather a strange stat. So obviously there's a penalty shootout loss to Creek, speak of them as well, last year. So is that something perhaps to work on in the future, or does it just happen to be that on the live streams it's just bad luck?
Look, as I've said, and to this day I still won't practice penalties. What the guys do after training, before training, that's up to them. Yes, some of the penalties have been saved, but we have converted them. So yeah, that is a telling sign when the keeper does save them, because in a penalty shootout, that they don't count. Our goal this year is to make sure that we don't go to penalties. That's as simple as that. And if we do, we've just got to do better than what we have in previous years.
Tom, I will come back to you with one more question, but just because you weren't here for games last year, it's hard to ask. Prospect in their first year up, obviously they're your match of the round opponents this weekend. First year up was last year, a 6-0 aggregate scoreline across both, 4-0 and 2-0, not in that order. Shane, I'll go to you.
Yep.
I'm not expecting you to recount those games in particular, but they've had a torrid... Oh, okay, well, you remember, so maybe you can throw back a little bit.
He must have scored.
Look, talk me through what you remember from those games. And look, I want you to touch on the fact that Prospect haven't won a game this year, and they've had a good match of the round performance, and they'd be motivated to try and get that first one against you.
Yeah, so last year, our first game against them was at their ground. I think it's William Lawson, was it? Yep. Yeah, William Lawson. So I think, we got up 2-0 there. So yeah, Prospect showed what they could bring, and we countered that with that 2-0 win. Following the second game, we versed them here. I think, we got up 4-0. Scored 2 that game. Yeah, so that's what I remember. But yeah, even then, 4-0, but they were still a solid side. You can never count them out. I think anyone in this league, you can sort of never count them out, no matter where they fall on the ladder. And it's no different with this week. I think we're going with the same mentality that we have the last couple of weeks, especially with those wins that we've had. So I think we can use those to keep driving forward and finish off the second half of the season.
2 goals in that game. Maybe they should try playing you on the wing or up front. I'm not sure. It's not my kind of decision.
I'll ask the coach.
Oh, okay. No, maybe I'll ask him on the next podcast. We'll see. But not tonight. We're going to wrap up with one final question, and maybe in tandem with both Darren Graham and Tom Guthrie, you can answer this. When you are playing a team who really now need to find themselves kicking into gear because the threat of dropping is the reality, does that make it for you guys? You know, it's the match of the round occasion, this, that, and the other. Yeah, sure, but playing against a team that are now getting desperate to pick up points, is that a more difficult thing? Does it feel like more of a potential banana skin for you guys? Maybe I'll go to Tom first, and if Darren, you have anything to add on, please do.
Look, it's always dangerous to play a team that's got nothing to lose. So I feel like they're going to go out there and they're going to give it their all. All we can do is go out and do it ourselves. I mean, we're on a good run of form right now. And I think Prospect, definitely have something to prove. I just don't think it's going to be against us. I think we're going to come on top the way we've been playing. I've got faith in our squad, and come match of the round, I think we can get the job done.
Darren, anything to add?
Yeah, just it doesn't matter where a team sits on the table. We come in, we train, and we've got an aim and a goal to do come Saturday. The same question was posed to me last year when we played Parklea in the match of the round, who was sitting winless there for a while, and I answered it the same. You know, Parklea last year came out and had something to prove. Prospect's going to be exactly the same on Saturday. That, you know, they've got everything to gain and we've got everything to lose. So as long as we come out Saturday and put on the park what we have trained tonight, I think the result will be there for us.
There's every chance in the world that you guys can put a lot of goals on, as you have in a couple of games this year. So, boys, thanks very much for sticking behind. I know it's very, very cold, so make sure you get those jumpers on. Thanks for being on the podcast. I appreciate it.
Cheers, mate.
Thank you.
Penalty, peril, match of the round, fun. Workers always put on a good game when the live stream cameras are on. They hold the candle over Prospect in the recent form charts as well, as you would have heard me ask them. And since they didn't get on the podcast, here's my quick assessment of Prospect. Prospect are last with a single point, a point they gained in the match of the round against Riverstone about a month ago. In the reserve grade, they have 3 wins from 7. Quakers Juniors have 4 points. They have less points in reserve grade than Prospect. A win for Prospect this weekend could see Quakers Juniors and Prospect on the club championship table do this and flip over. But of course, Quakers Juniors have the match of the round game in hand against their local rivals, Quakers Hill Tigers, to come next Wednesday. So it's really tight at the bottom. That's my analysis. To the fixtures now. Well, let's go through it. Let me remind you. Pons Marion. 3rd v 4th, Dooney vs Eastern Creek. A battle of the mid-table as ropes go to Tigers. That's a huge one. Rivo take on Quakers Juniors. Both clubs need a win. Who will come out on top? And of course, at 7 p.m, your match of the round is Workers versus Prospect. Polonia and St. Pat's. It's another huge one for both clubs. Arguably the match of the round in the PL2. Rudy Hill host Parklea. A big one as Newbury take on Town Rangers. While Oakville and Glenwood is another really interesting one and could see Glenwood jump to first place and be the promotion favourites. It's a big weekend, this one. Marion have the high-flying Kellyville in a second-last v first game that is going to be a tough one for Marion, but you've got to beat the best to be the best. Parklea play Rouse Hill Rams, at Rouse Hill Rams, and a Quakers derby rounds out the Women's Premier League fixtures this weekend. The first one ever. It's going to be great fun. I'm going to try and say this next sentence as fast as physically possible. That's going to do it for episode 11 of the Blacktown Premier League podcast. My name is Mark Apollo. Thank you so much for being here, and I really do appreciate your time on the podcast this week. If you did enjoy what you saw, heard, and experienced, of course, if you're liking the competition and what's happening throughout all of our game weeks so far, of course, 11 episodes deep, we are at a really good point of the midway mark of the season. Please, leave a like, let us know you're enjoying it. I know that the match of the round this weekend is going to interfere with your A-League Grand Final viewings, but there isn't any other Premier League or other leagues in the world to watch, so make sure you tune in and split your screens like that, and leave a like and leave a comment so I know that you're there. It's a really great honour and pleasure to continue working for you guys, and I love doing these podcasts, so make sure you let me know that you're enjoying them too by hitting the like button, and that's why this is the best podcast in the whole world. And cue the outro music. on.